Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on this episode of the Real Estate Podcast. I am so excited about our guest today, and I'm excited to introduce to you India Hall from the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, one of our top agents in the entire United States. She's in our top 50, top 250 agents across the country. But the biggest thing I love about India is her desire to serve customers and to help them buy and sell homes. And she just wants to do more of it. It's just, so how do you grow your business and serve more customers? And she has some amazing insights for all of you today on one marketing tactic specifically. We're going to talk about a bunch of different items, but we're going to hone in on one marketing tactic that is very impactful to her business and to others. And she's been teaching agents around the country. She's been doing smart Zooms for us on how to build your Google profile. And I want to share with you all real quick. She said something to me when a few weeks ago. The reason why I wanted to have her on this podcast is that it was very profound. And you correct me if I say it wrong, India, but you're saying, so many agents put all this priority and this emphasis on working on their social media and building content on social media, which is temporary by design. The way social media works and the algorithm is it's posted, but then you've got to keep reposting and do something different in order for it to remain relevant, versus your Google profile is permanent. Google profile it impacts all your other business, including your social media and your other marketing, because it is constant and permanent. Because where do customers, what do? They're searching for someone to help them with real estate. Google is all about search and about getting the right information to the consumer. And building out on your Google profile is long lasting and not temporary. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I also think, India, that since you've started to work on your Google profile, 100% done and completely finished, that's the goal for everybody. But you've also talked about how you start and you get 50% progress, then 60, then 70, then 80, 95. You work your way until you get your profile really honed in, but then it's permanent and it sits there and it's a engine that works for you. So that's kind of my setup. What do you think?
I think you did fantastic, Todd. Thank you. So
What?
India Hall, the ultimate realtor, HomeSmart DMV, amazing community in our HomeSmart offices and HomeSmart nationally.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me, Todd. I'm excited to talk about Google and some other things. So yes, Google is that permanent fixture that really helps you grow your business as an agent. And just to give you background, I know you know, Todd, but I'll share for the listeners that I am 22 years in the business, but for the first or for the first half of the business, I was a dual career agent. And so being a what I call COVID baby, Google was it helped me, build my business, right? And so this is one of the things that I really, really, truly rely on and preach about because it's that one time you build and then you lightly nurture with social media. I am definitely on social media too. I love all the social media components, but Google really sets it off for me, where you have the consumer who is looking for an agent, and then you just need to shine in your community, right?
Right.
So with building, I think one of the most important things is really capturing your the reviews. So targeting, it starts, I think Google really, and I can't confirm this, but for me, I started to see more evidence at about 34, 35 reviews where I was coming up a little bit more often. So building your reviews, start with that, responding to those reviews, that's always great. Just to build community,
Okay,
with
so
your clients.
let's cut all the way to the big question of,
Yeah.
does this work? And what impact did you have in your business from when you say before you started to where you of like working on your Google review? At some point in your career, you started to work on reviews and your Google profile. And then where you are today, and are the results 1x, 2x, 5x? Does it
Yeah.
really work? And has there been impact?
So it absolutely works. Otherwise, I wouldn't even be sharing because it wouldn't be worth the conversation, right? So it absolutely works. And for me, I started out with zero, like nobody was calling me on Google at all because I didn't have a profile. I didn't show up. But not only did they not call me from Google, they don't have anything to verify when they're looking at your social media. So when they see your social media, they're going to look you up. Most times they want some foundation.
Right.
And Google also supports that. So they don't have to originally find you on Google, but there is a support system with, the social media component. So creating that foundation. Right now, I would say that I am close to converting or massaging. I at least get at least one lead a month from Google.
Right.
It could be more in some months in the spring. Of course, it's more active when people are looking more.
Right.
Um, but I'm having all kinds of conversations with buyers, with sellers, even people who are looking to rent. They say, they're calling the profile, hey, do you handle this?
Right.
Land deals, I get just people who see that I'm in the industry and they see my profile and they see what I'm doing and they're making a phone call or they're booking online because I do have a scheduling link in there as well.
Right. Right. That's powerful. That's powerful. So let's back all the way up to the very
Okay.
beginning and let's talk about how you got started. And I do know about the power of reviews because we have office locations all throughout the entire country,
Mhm.
and we also have agents in all of those offices, and we often get inquiries and phone calls from agents or even from franchise locations about how, customers trying to find them on Google and their business profiles and et cetera, and why is one agent outranking another? And when we dig into it, it really has to do with those reviews. And so an agent that has 36 reviews, 40 reviews versus an agent that only has one, Google is searching to match the consumer with the person who has the best skill set, match, information, whatever the consumer is looking for. So it seems to really place a lot of importance
Emphasis
on
on
that
those
and
completed,
emphasis. Yeah.
yeah,
So
on those
talk about how you
completed
talk.
framework.
Yeah. So talk about how you got started, and
Mhm.
and what you did first.
So I got started because I didn't have any framework. I needed somewhere for clients to potentially find me. And what better way than to do that through Google, right? Like people just search. I needed somewhere, I needed something, I needed to be found.
And this is in the middle of COVID, right?
This
Because
is in the middle of COVID.
we're on lockdown. You're not, going out to face with people anymore like you used to, right? So
That's correct.
you needed people to find you. So you started
That's
to
right.
focus on this. What did you do first?
I started to call my old clients. I
Okay.
started to say, hey, you know, I am building, and these were clients that had given me reviews, maybe even old school reviews where they just sent me an email, or, it could have been on another platform like a Zillow, some other place where reviews were held. I'm like, hey, I'm converting all of my reviews over to this central hub, which is Google. Would you mind giving me a Google review and putting it here? And in some instances, I would copy their old review if I had it and say, hey, this is what you wrote on this platform. Can you just post it to Google? And so that was also a way for me to be in contact with those clients again, see how they're doing, but also say, hey, this is what I'm doing. Could you help me out? Or, and start a real estate conversation as well. So I
Right.
actually had some of those clients revisit and buy and sell since then.
Right.
So that was the setup, just going back to clients to create some of those reviews so that I could start getting momentum with reviews.
Okay. All right. Um, and what'd you do after? So you started with reviews.
Mhm.
You got your first couple reviews.
Mhm.
How did you really begin to know that you really needed to get those 30, 35, 40 reviews? Or did all of a sudden you just saw an impact when you got that many reviews?
Yeah, I just started to see so Google gives you analytics as well. It tells you what people are searching for and if you've come up in that search. So if I look at my Google Analytics now, it'll tell me best realtor in with this area that people search for, how many people may have searched for that, and then how I'm coming up.
Right.
So you start to see a little bit more of the activity. And so you can build your framework around that. Like Google allows you to do a description. You can put those keywords in your descriptions. So I knew that I needed to build my profile. So after I got reviews, I said, okay, I need to complete this a little bit more because I'm getting reviews from the people who I've already worked with, but what about the people who haven't worked with me yet? And so I just went to, and Google will prompt you. They say, hey, you're getting reviews. Can you fill out the complete profile? Can you build your profile out? And so I'm like, hey, yeah, I do need to do this. Let me go ahead and fill out the profile. So then you're entering the name of your business, the location of your business. You're filling out all of your Google or all of your social media links. You're putting a description, you're putting your hours that you're available. You can put in all of the links to your scheduling, your website, anything that Google is asking for, you just complete it. And that's where you're building um that little there's a circle in Google that tells you how complete your profile is.
Right.
And then you're just following that and you're saying, what else do I need to do?
Right.
So
Right.
Google will navigate you with that. That's pretty much the simple part.
So did you watch any how-to tutorials? Did you Google how to build your Google profile and watch videos or learn or follow checklists, or how did you figure it out?
Um, I didn't really. I mean, I probably maybe here and there just to kind of figured a little bit, but I don't recall ever. It was so simple that I just followed it. It's almost like Simon Says, following the leader, filling out an application. It's really just put in the information that they say.
Okay.
So
Boom.
even when, you're filling out your information with your brokerage or, whatever you're doing, just completing the prompts, your email address, your phone number, it's really that.
Right, right. Just going step by step. But the key, I think, is starting. And so I guess the action item for all of you listeners right now is I want you to take action on your Google profile in the next 48 hours. Set yourself that commitment and that goal and at least do something. Go in and look at your profile. Um, Search for yourself. Try to, get a baseline and then figure out where you want to go and turn around and execute the opportunities that India is telling you about right now and go take action. Go do something and make it better, right? So I'd love to see all of you do that. You speak around the country and on this, and you've spoken to several different organizations. You've done, webinars for HomeSmart, for, us, and you created a great little like page that you sent me. It's an online document that says, here's what I did and here's how I do it. And agents just follow this step by step. Is there an easy way for agents to get to that guide where you're telling other agents how to build a Google profile?
Yeah, I have just sharing that link. It's a step-by-step guide.
Okay.
And it really just shows you how to build the profile itself.
Okay.
So the enter here, this is what you do here.
Right.
One of the key components, I think, also with in addition to getting the reviews, is also just showing people who you are. So
Mhm.
images are very important on Google as well. They want to see content, just like social media wants to see content. So
Right.
photos, I usually put photos of, the houses that I sell. My headshot, any closing photos that I'm celebrating with my clients, any videos, any tutorials, any education content. I also add that to Google. So anything that you would put in social media.
So
swapping
to
information
me, that's a
around.
key point, and another impactful message that I've learned from you is that you are taking things that you are doing on social media and you're reposting it, repurposing it in your profile. Because
Mhm.
again, in your profile, it has a permanent place. And so if you were to Google right now, India Hall, the ultimate realtor, by the way, um, sometime you have to call her and listen to her voicemail. She has one of the top three voicemails out of all of the HomeSmart agents that I have heard throughout the country. I love it's just so much energy. It's so much energy in your voicemail, but also uniqueness, and you're just calling it out. I am the ultimate realtor here to help you. I don't remember exactly what your voicemail is,
Thanks.
but I love it. You guys just take, mimic a little bit of what India's doing and that energy, and you can obviously see she loves her clients. She
Mhm.
wants to help them, and she's making a connection to them by the voicemail, even if she's not talking to them in person. So, commend you on that. Good job.
Thank you. I
Um,
get comments on my voicemail all the time. I honestly don't remember it.
that's
I did
awesome.
it was set it and forget it, just like Google.
Yeah, right, right. Well, you had that Red Bull, and then you did your voicemail. I like that. That's good. No, I commend you on that. That's awesome. But the other thing is in your profile, some of that uniqueness comes through. I mean, that's where some of your uniqueness having to do with I'm the ultimate realtor for you. I'm the one really helping you, and that comes through in your Google profile as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Todd.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Okay, so what type of other items? So, like you said, you're taking videos that you've posted, maybe of your clients getting their keys to their front door, and
Yeah.
they're moving it, and then you're repurposing it and reposting it in your profile, and some other things as well. You've linked it to your calendar. I think you have a Calendly calendar. Can you
Yes.
talk about that a little bit and how that works for you by it's being smarter, not it's working smarter, not harder. Like you're making it easy for your customers, and now in a morning you might wake up and oh, there's an appointment. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
so talk about that a
So
little bit.
yeah, I think so. It adds a level of efficiency for me and also for the client. The feedback I get from clients is that they really like that feature, and that's why they went with, you know, progressing with my profile rather than another agent's profile because it was more efficient and they were able to kind of get it done and without having to feel like they have to make a lot of phone calls.
Right,
Um, excuse me, because also the feedback is, a lot of people don't want to do all the research. They want all the information there already. So
right,
the more they see and learn up front, it's easier for them.
right.
But the content is really, so the Calendly, what I'm doing is I have a Calendly. It's a small subscription. I think it's probably about $15 a month or something like that. I've built a profile within there, and there are different types of appointments that you can schedule. So I want to know if it's a buyer, so approved buyer, a general real estate consultation, and if they're a seller, right? And
Okay,
so I have those in there also because I'm a team leader. I have joined the ultimate team, right? So it's four of those appointment types,
right.
so people can know what they can reach out to me for, really.
Mhm.
And they're scheduling 30-minute consultations, 15-minute. It depends on what they need or what they're
Right,
doing. And I have a series of questions in there. So the questions correlate to the type of appointment it is, but it gives me a framework of what they're looking for or what I can help them with. And then one of the questions is, just for a seller, their address, what's their timeline? If they're looking to sell, do they have something? If do they also want to buy? But I say, what do you want to accomplish in this meeting?
right,
And so that helps me build the framework. It's already on my calendar. I call them, it gives them notices in advance to make sure they show up.
right.
It's
So
just ready.
I again, great job on that. I hear this. I've heard this multiple times with our top 50 agents in the entire United States that when you stop and take some time to work on your business, instead of just being in it daily. You stop and take some time. So you focus on what the four different types of inquiries. And you're going to say, okay, if it's this type of an inquiry, what is it that I need to know? Because I had another top agent on the East Coast tell me, I found myself always asking the same questions when I was talking to a buyer. I'd ask the same questions when I was talking to a seller before I could even get to assisting them.
Mm-hmm.
So then they did what you did. They created questions where ahead of time the customer could fill these out. They created a Google form or they
Mm-hmm.
created some sort of a information, and now they're given those answers right away, and it makes it just they can help the customer faster because
Yes.
they already know, and it's just so much more efficient and it's a real time saver. And if you're doing this times 40 customers, you're, you know, like I said, one of the agents told me, he says, I found myself doing a 10 minutes before I ever even got to where I could really help them. And times 40 people, that's a lot of time.
Yeah, it's
So
wasted.
now I have it and I wake up in the morning, I see this and it's hitting and I hit the ground running. I already know what they like, how to start to help them. And
Right,
so,
exactly.
yeah.
The more information we have as agents, the better we can help the consumer. I tell my clients, I'm the one that you can be transparent with, right? And so the more that you share with me, the more that I can help you. If I don't know what you need, I can't help you. There's no solution that I can provide for you because I don't know how to help you.
Right.
So those questions help me to determine what it is that they need. And also just even prompt some additional conversations so that I'm being of value. And so by the time that they're off that call with me, I've given them value because I've also had some foresight to be able to process what they're writing, give them a situation or a scenario or a solution and then move on to the next step. It's easier, it's cleaner, it's a streamlined process.
I love that. And you're providing value immediately too because you are asking the most important questions, which
Mhm,
are, what do you want to accomplish?
mhm,
What's your goal?
mhm,
What's your biggest concern? What's your biggest concern or fear that I can help you with?
mhm.
You know, that's one of the, like, can you go through a couple other of the questions that you're asking? So you're asking them what they want to accomplish. I think that's great, right?
Yeah.
You have
What's
their
their
goal in mind,
timeline? So
right?
the who, what, when, where, why. Who
Mhm.
who are you? What are you trying to accomplish? What's your name, your property address so that I can look it up? What's prompting you to move? Like, why do you even want to shift in the first place? So, that magic pivot,
Right,
we always want to know why they're moving. If is it urgent or not?
right,
Are they growing families? What they're looking for.
right,
Um, and really, I have clients write sometimes novels
right.
in the blank space that I give them to freestyle.
Sure.
And it could be, I've listed my house with another agent before it didn't pan out. I just want to know if you could help me. Here's what our problems are.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, you gave me all the problems already?
That's
That's
awesome.
easy, you
That's
know?
awesome. So how do you get that information then to them? So they in a sense fill those out. I know one of the other agents that I'm thinking about, very similar to you, they
Mhm.
also asked the question. They said, "How do you want me to get this information back to you?" Some customers like it to be in an email. Some customers they want me to call them and talk to them on the phone. Some of them want me to text it to them. They don't
Right.
want, like so. I don't know.
Communication style.
How do you get this information back to the customer?
Yeah, so I usually in that conversation I'm usually asking them what their communication style is and also telling them what mine is and which they
Okay.
would prefer. So
Okay.
we're having that dialogue as well as part of the process.
Right.
But typically I'm just doing a summary of what we talked about and I send it an email just for my notes. I write it in my CRM. It gives it back to them in a framework that they understand, usually bullet points. I'm using AI sometimes to help me with that.
Hmm.
So as I'm taking notes, I'm jotting down things. You can put it directly in AI and say, while you're on the call, or even when you're doing Zoom, because some of my calls are Zoom calls, depending on what type of call it is.
Right.
And it can record for you. You can send it back. So I've done that with clients too on consultations. Send them the link back and they have it. They can review it and listen to it again.
Mhm.
But really just taking notes and giving it back to them mostly in email.
Right. Good.
Yep.
Awesome. Good, good. Well, for everyone listening, we are going to put the link. Rachel, our producer, is going to put the link to India's step-by-step guide for all of you down below in the podcast. So you'll be able to click that link and go follow her step-by-step, guide. So, all right. So how many reviews are you at right now today?
95.
95.
95. I think I'm at 95, 94, 95.
Okay. And we're going to
So
keep
just shy of
going, right?
100. Yes, we're keep going.
Keep going. All right. That's
Yep,
great.
I have a few clients that I need to just follow up on with reviews, and I have
Mhm.
a few closings that are coming up, so I'm expecting to at
Uh,
least get 100 before the end of the month.
Great. I love that. The thing that I noticed about your reviews as well is that all of them were 5-star reviews, meaning that they weren't 4.95,
Yeah.
4.95 average, like 5-star reviews. So thank you for taking care of your customers the way you do.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So we were talking before, you have 3 things on your wall. We can only see one. We see execution, but what are the other 2? What are the
One says hustle
hustle, grind?
and grind and execution. And it's just to keep me on my toes,
I love
right?
that.
As you know, real estate is you just have to keep your eyes and ears to the world.
Right.
And so you always have to be on your toes and just, ready for be ready to pivot because everything is so fluid. And so I just want to keep all of the positive things at the forefront of my head.
Yeah.
Like it's a hustle, you definitely got to grind, but execution to me is the most important thing. So execute getting those Google, getting a
Yep.
Google profile.
Yeah. Good for you. What do you love most about what you do?
Todd, I was in corporate America for years. My background is in accounting, so I have a bachelor's and a master's degree in accounting. And I was always in the office with the same people over and over, right? And while that's great, I love meeting new people. I love hearing their stories. I love being a part of their stories. And I just really love them, like love seeing them be happy in their houses. Like one of the bigger things for me, and I tell my husband this every like holiday season, when like some of my clients who are also social media friends, like on the first day of school, they post their kids and the kids are outside of the house. And I'm like, hey, I sold them their house. Or like Christmas when they put their Christmas tree up and they're in the house that I sold them,
Right.
right? Or, whatever the event, when they have events at their homes, I love seeing that they're there, that they're enjoying them, and it's really become a part of their life and their memories that they make. And so it's always for me just an extra emotion to see that I was a part of that. So I like that part and the connection with the people. I really do.
Love that. Do you
Yeah.
have a story that stands out as one of your most emotional, meaning like, that customer that was like, that didn't think there was any way they could ever own a home, or I don't know. Is there,
I have a lot of them. I mean,
tell me one. Just give me
okay,
one.
well,
Give
I'll
me
just give you the family one, right?
Yeah.
Like there's
Okay.
always a family member that has
Yeah.
some hesitation. And so I have a little sister. She's 8 years younger than me, and she was trying to buy a house for years. Like we we looked early on, like, and we didn't find anything that was in her price point, or that she really loved. And she didn't have the comprehension of buying now versus, building equity. And I feel like she lost out on equity. And now she understands that she did when
Right.
we didn't execute that first time, when real estate was lower. And she didn't understand the process. And maybe I wasn't that great at explaining then. So years later, she came back and she's now wanting to buy a house because now rent is crazy and she's really truly out on her own. And so We found the perfect townhouse condo for her. And it's 4 levels. So in Maryland, we have like lots of stairs because everything is vertical, or a lot of things are vertical because they maximize space here.
Right, right,
Because we're short on houses. So
right,
um it's the condo community, and they have just different kinds of styles of condo all in the same
right.
community. So her unit is just so charming. And then just to see what she's done to it from where we started. And we were able to get her a grant. So it was 5 years. And then after 5 years, it goes away. So she was able to get some extra money to help her get into the door. We were able to get her some closing costs as well from the seller. And she still lives there. She's still excited. She's done floors, she's done countertops, and her decor is amazing. Like, she just has these art murals on the walls. And so I just love that she loves her house, and it was a great choice for her, and that we were able to just give her a new comprehension on what real estate is all about.
I love that. I
So,
love that. We all know, and all of us in the industry know people who were thinking about buying or wanted to buy, and then they just hesitated. And then years later, homes are now more expensive, rent
yep.
is more expensive, and maybe they hesitated even again. And
Mhm.
now, years later, and it's just like, you know, so the fact of, telling that story of still to this day, even though, um, but she's built equity as she's
Yeah.
gotten in, and
Yes.
never the right time to buy. If you're a renter, to me, is, I guess in some cases maybe, we still renting still makes sense, but I have a big passion for helping turn renters into owners that build equity.
Yeah.
And so I love hearing that story, and
Yeah.
thank you, yeah, for
Yeah,
doing
thank you. It's the equity thing for me. I'm like, if you're gonna spend the money and rent, why not own if it makes sense for you? I mean,
yes,
you
right.
definitely do have to do an analysis of whether it's logical and whether the numbers work. That's the accounting side of me.
Well,
Um,
but equity is all, you look at all the data, and the
mhm.
average owner has 40 times more equity and wealth than a renter. And, I've heard the phrase a million times, what's the interest rate on rent? It's 100%.
Yep.
So yeah, interest rates might be a little higher than they were a few years ago, but they're still, incredibly low in comparison. So,
Yeah. I
uh,
call it freezing your economics. So, like, what you spend today, 10 years, you're locked in on that 10-year-old price.
right,
If you never change it, right? So, what you would buy 10 years from now is going to be way more. Like what people sell their houses for today, they didn't buy it for. So if you
yeah,
buy a house, at 500,000 now, and 10 years it's $1 million, well, you didn't buy it at 1 million. That's your equity, and then you paid over time. So now you have a great return. I love the numbers. It's why I got into real estate.
well, yes, obviously having a master's in that, so that's great. Yeah, for me, getting into the details of it, like home prices are so tied to, the amount of money supply, right? So in a way,
Mhm.
it's protecting yourself too, because it's tied to that money supply in the economy.
Yeah,
And it's just, and I'm passionate about it. It's the best investment I think people can make. So
I agree.
love it. Thank you for taking care of your customers and doing that. What other marketing things are working, and how are you getting the word out to customers that are in the East Coast that I can help you buy and sell? And let's overcome those hurdles. Let's go buy or sell, for you.
Yeah, well, I have to say that my HomeSmart network has been amazing.
Okay, great. Love that.
So meeting all the agents, coming to convention, so Growth Summit, and pivot, navigating Growth Summit and talking at Growth Summit, and listening and learning. I find that to be really helpful. So I think this is going to be my consistent fourth or fifth year. Um,
Awesome.
and every time I meet new people and just connect. But also, I find like Google, social media is my other tool.
Hmm. Yeah.
And you get to touch more people there as well, like a lot, but it does take more effort than the Google. Like you have to be connected every day. And I just communicate with my clients on social media. I share my life, I share my stories that my clients allow me to. So just making connections and talking to people and being in spaces in my community and, knowing, trying to be connected to the who's who and who can share and who can help,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So,
Right. Great. Um, One of the other things lately I've been talking with agents a little bit about is building a portfolio, meaning like over your career, you've helped all different kinds of home buyers and home sellers in different situations.
mhm.
So, have you done anything in the area of like building a portfolio where you can show another buyer who's in a similar situation? Here's what I did before for someone else in your situation to help them. Here's what we did, and here's the result. Same with a seller. It's often probably more relevant when you have a listing that's in a certain area, a certain price point, and you can talk about what you've done to help those. So you doing anything like that, or is that naturally just developed for you over the years? When you think about it, you have a portfolio.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm doing any one particular thing. I usually, when I'm meeting with clients, I'm usually sharing stories.
Hmm.
And I also offer like I just naturally display,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
So here's a property that was in your neighborhood, here's the story behind it.
Right.
So there's not really a formal portfolio, and maybe at some point I'll put one together. But most of what I'm doing is it's all digital.
Right.
And so, I'm categorizing it in that way. I always have the accountant in me has a
Yeah.
spreadsheet.
Of course.
And I'm navigating that way.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something that I could actually work on.
All right. Oh, that's great. Um, how about 22 years in the business? What do you wish someone would have told you 22 years ago, 20 years ago, 2 years in? Is there lessons learned back then?
Yeah. So my biggest takeaway, and this is probably, I don't know if it's strange or not, but like I said, I spent a lot of time as a dual career agent. And my mindset was that um I paid all this money for this degree, right? Or these degrees, like
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of dollars in
Yeah.
degrees.
Right.
And the real estate license doesn't cost very much. Or at the time I got mine, it wasn't what it is today, right? So it's an easy entry. And so I felt like there was not a lot of validity there, or if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
And so I chose to go the accounting route because I felt like the foundation was stronger, or it took me longer to build.
Hmm. Right.
And so the hesitation with going to real estate as a full-time agent was, well, it didn't take me a lot to get here. And what does that mean when anybody can do it? And then what I learned is, well, everybody can't do it. It might be easy to get your license, but it's not easy to perform, and it's not easy to show up, and it's not easy to get success stories, and it's hard work. It's hustle, grind, and execution, right?
Right. Right.
So that was a change in mindset. And if I had probably somebody who would tell me that and nurture me in the beginning, I probably would have done real estate from the jump.
Okay.
So
Love
that's
that.
my story.
That's your story. Well, I do think that is a something that impression of real estate agents that it's not everybody can do it, and
Hmm.
I think we need to do a better job maybe of communicating that a little bit, and also communicating why top agents like you can, and what you're doing that's different. That whole differentiation about what
Hmm.
you do that's different than everyone else. So good job. I love that.
Yeah.
Rapid fire, a couple quick little questions. Do you
Okay.
use a database?
Yes.
Um,
CRM is Sphere.
Sphere?
Yep,
Okay.
the website is uSphere.
Okay.
So use SPHERE.
Okay.
And then it's beneficial for me. It keeps me organized. It gives me num who to call. It gives me my top 15 checklist every single day. So
Right.
I know to go through my morning calls, who I need to touch, how many times have you touched that person, emails, text messages,
Okay.
all together.
Right.
And I link it to my email so I can go to a client's profile and see all of my conversations with them. So
Okay.
that helps me be organized with that client. I know what I talk to them about, even, if I'm not always taking notes, if
Right.
that makes sense. So it
It
helps
does.
me to be organized with the client.
Okay. All right. Love that. Okay. So, video marketing. Do you do much of that? If you do, what are you using? Is there any software or tools that you're using to help you with video?
Yeah, so I mean, yes, I do video. I feel like you have to so that people can see your personality and energy and that you're a force in your field, that you have education. So it also supports the Google profile. But I often do video on my own. Like I am recording myself and it's not easy. But I also,
It's
when
authentic.
I'm yeah, it is. But I'm also recording content for my clients, and that's more professionally done. But just dialoguing with the client through video. I'm using apps. I have an iPhone, so iMovie is one of them. CapCut was another. InShot
Okay.
is another. So anything that will help you put your story together, sometimes you can do it within the platform that you're using. So if you're using TikTok, it's an easy put together. You just go right into there and build your story. Same with Instagram. And then you can download, that and move it to any other platform that you want, including Google.
All right.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay. Any other uh, marketing tools, resources, tips that you can't live without that, you know, that you rely on?
So one of my favorite things is honestly listings to leads.
Okay.
I use them whenever I have a listing, and they help me with Google Ads. I mean, well, they do Google Ads too, but not with Google Ads, with Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
So I can use promote my listing through Facebook AdWords.
Okay.
And you do a spend, you set the parameters, and it helps you build um basically the ad. It's building the ad for you.
Okay.
And so it gives you structure, and it's a software.
Right.
Supporting software is what I would call it, but it captures the number of views, the lead generation, from I get a lot of leads from that as well,
Right.
just on social media, but mostly when I'm doing that when I have a listing.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
that's what this is about sharing those real life, tools and little applications that you stumbled upon at some point,
Hmm.
throughout your career. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Um, Two more questions, but one, where did your last listing come from? The listing, yard sign in the front yard.
Yeah.
Where did it come from? How did that nurture and come about?
My last few listings, I think social media. The last two, I believe, were social. Um, uh, One was a direct relationship, from a college person, or from a person I went to college with that I did not,
Mhm.
hadn't been in contact with for years. And then another was a person that I didn't know, but they follow me on social and they referred another person to me.
Okay, great.
Um, but I did have a listing appointment recently from Google, and that was Monday.
From your Google profile.
From my Google profile.
That's
And
right.
they wrote a blurb.
Okay. I love that. All right, so bringing it back full circle here to the listening audience, work on your Google profile. Google India Hall. uh, DC, Maryland, Virginia, Realtor, HomeSmart, and just watch what comes up and look at her business profile and mimic what she's doing. The last question I wanted to ask you, I know that you also work with some investors, and I think you've gotten some investor business out of your Google profile as well. Can you talk a little bit about that, how you're helping investors?
Yes. So I have a lead that came in from Google, and it was an investor. He was looking for agents to list his properties. And he does this for a living. I mean, he just flips properties. That's his thing.
Right.
He said he doesn't want to be an agent. He just wants to focus on that part of it. So
Yeah,
he started to interview agents, but he found me on Google. We went out, we had lunch, we talked about what he needed, what I could do, and we have sold 7 homes together over the past 2 years.
that's
And
great.
that was from Google.
That's great. That's good. Well,
Yep.
obviously he got connected with the right realtor too,
Yes.
in you. So proud of you for that. Any last little thoughts or comments to share with your realtor community about how they can help buyers and sellers better, more often, or any other little insight or encouragement
Yeah.
or thoughts you want to give, listeners like
Yeah. Just don't be a silent agent. Let people know, or a secret agent. Let people know that you can help them. Put your best foot forward, give all the good energy, and go for it.
love that.
Yeah.
And work on your Google profile.
And we're really good. Yes.
Because it's permanent and it's going to sit there and always be there. It's always going to be there, and it does. It's connected. It's the underlying foundation to all this other marketing, and it makes the other marketing so much more impactful because of your Google profile. Those reviews are so important. You got to set a goal. You got to get 40 reviews or more minimum. I'm telling you right now, go make that a goal. Do, get 10 a quarter, every 3 months, get 10 done. And in a year, you're going to be sitting in a different position than you are today. So,
Agree.
India Hall, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for serving your clients, for representing HomeSmart so well throughout the industry. We appreciate you, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Todd, for having me. It's been great. Thank you.
It's been good conversation. All right, we'll see you all back on future episodes of the Real Estate Podcast. Thank you. Make sure you Google India Hall, the ultimate realtor in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, and you go find her and connect with her. And come to Growth Summit. You'll connect with her in person, face to face. We'll see you back on future episodes. Take care. Bye.
Like what you're hearing on The Real Estate? Tell your friends about us. Tell them to check out all of our episodes on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. And don't forget to send any topics you want us to tackle to therealestate@homesmart.com.